Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to take a look at the recently announced Claude Design, which was broadcasted on their Twitter account a few hours ago. And I want to just jump in, of course, check it out because I'm always excited to see something new from the team at Anthropic. Give you sort of my feedback on where I think this is headed and how you might start using this and what the difference is between using this aside from the typical sort of Claude and chat experience. Now, a lot of these things here you could do with your Claude desktop app. In fact, some of the stuff I've been doing for a little while now with Claude Cowork, especially the video making stuff. But the design, I guess, product that's coming to Claude is made specifically for the design features and editing features and collaboration features that you need if you're working with a team or if you're really trying to punch into the design. So what do I mean by that? I made 3 examples here. One, I made a landing page using their prototype feature, motion design, which is like a video editor or video creator. And then I made a slide deck using their slide deck feature. So these are the 3 that they have, launched as of Friday the 17th, April the 17th, 2026. You can start a prototype, you can make a slide deck, or you can start from template, and they have this other thing. It's been pretty good. I mean, I think I really like how they are tuning it to those design aspects. So let's just take a look at a landing page. I'm not going to run all the prompts because basically I just want to have to edit all the videos out, and everything just takes time for it to sort of like process through after you prompt. But this one started with a wireframe prompt, and I have another website, another property called the WP Minute, where I cover a lot of WordPress stuff. And I said, hey, make me a prototype for a landing page to help sell the ad spots, right? And the sponsorship spots that we have here at the WP Minute. So you can see here, right in the center, we've got this sort of like wireframe prototype, and it allows me to explore these ideas and understand like what a prototype might feel like in this case. What's really interesting is, what this is doing is giving you a curated experience to prompting, right? You could achieve a lot of this stuff by, heavily adding context in a prompt to typical Claude desktop app or Claude in the web or Claude code in the terminal and say, hey, here's what I want to do. This is what I want to really, get out of this exercise. And the design stuff is just baking that in and allowing you to sort of just like fast forward some of those moments. So when I prompted this originally, just using a very lightweight prompt, like, hey, I want to make a landing page, I want to sell sponsorships for my publication. What it did do, let's just see if I have it here, if they have the files. They don't list, right here, Claude has some questions. I can't even click on that to show you. But what it does is give you a whole bunch of questions, a questionnaire to say, what do you want out of this prompt? Again, it's an exercise in making better prompting. And it's allowing you to think deeper, not even allowing you, it's asking you to think deeper about what the outcome is. And that's always been the trick, if you will, to getting a lot of value out of any chat system that you're using. But beyond that, it's giving you this workspace to work on your designs. So you have the ability to tweak it and ask Claude to add either certain things in the design or the project that you're working on, and add different small features that they consider tweaks, which is interesting. You can comment by clicking on an element here and applying a comment. So I'm going to say, this is a comment. And I can send that to Claude or just leave it as a comment. It almost feels like there are just different ways to interact with the chatbot and in ways to get you to think like, well, if I want to comment on this, do I want to comment on this to leave it for collaboration purposes? Would I want to comment on this with Claude, and will Claude work through this comment with me? So it's kind of interesting how they're like massaging some of these points into that. But the key thing here is what you really can't do in your typical Claude chat experience is, if you see I'm hovering over the different elements, and I can, just like with an inspect tool in your browser, I can pinpoint a specific thing in this design and punch into that with the chat. So this is what's bringing it beyond just your vanilla chat system. I think this is the future of a lot of how we'll be interacting with agents and chat systems. They're going to be contextualized for the thing you want to do, whether it's coding, whether it's designing like you see here, writing, animations, et cetera, et cetera. So look forward to that. we can edit right here and put in some predefined options, your typical kind of thing in web design and coding, which is colors, padding, margin, font sizes, font colors, all of that stuff. It's that Figma-esque kind of workflow that you might already be familiar with. I'm sure this is the market that they're going after. In fact, you can import Figma designs and bring them right into Claude and edit them right here. You can draw on it, which will allow you to do some things like maybe circle something and say, move this over here, and you'll prompt that with Claude. That's kind of interesting to go in that perspective or go in that direction. And then you can present it in full tab, share it, or export it to different files. You can send it right to Canva, or you can hand off to Claude Code to then develop this stuff. So this is a bird's eye view of working with at least this prototyping feature. They have two. They have one that's like a prototype, give me a wireframe, which is what this is, or give me a more fully polished design, which you could start with. And again, just contextual stuff that they're adding to these features. I'm going to punch into the design files. This one doesn't show a lot. It's just giving me the HTML of effectively what it has built and presented to me in the interface, right? It's a single HTML file that is presenting these mockups to me, 50 kilobytes. You can see it right down here, modified 12 minutes ago. If I go back home, I'm going to jump over to my motion design that I made, which is a interactive video, which is just automatically playing right here. All I did was prompt a blog post that I wrote recently for the WP Minute, and I said, hey, turn this into a video. They were calling it motion graphic. I didn't know what they meant by that, to be honest with you, and it output a video, right? So I'm going to call it a video, and I'll probably download something like this, maybe put some music, maybe put a voiceover, which it did ask and prompt me in the beginning. It says, hey, do you want a voiceover with this? Do you want music? It can kind of handle this for you. And it allows me to work with this. I'm sure if I wanted to edit this stuff, I could work with it right here in this almost like editing-like experience, even though it's just prompting and doing the stuff in the back end. This is stuff that I do quite often with summarizing meetings or customer interviews. I do it with Claude Cowork, and I just simply give it the Zoom recording that I have, the MP4 file, and I give it the transcript, and I say, hey, just chop this down to the most important parts that you think the customer's asking for in the product and edit the video for me. And it edits the video just like you see here. It puts a bunch of tiles to separate the chapters. It does a great job for what I needed to do. The interesting thing here is if you go to design files, now you can see more of a file explorer where it's using a lot more assets for this kind of thing. So with our prototype mockup, it was just an HTML file, no big deal. Here, you see a bunch of JavaScript that it's using to build out the actual, probably the direction and the production of that video, a couple still JPEGs, of course, HTML, and another animation JavaScript file. So you can see here that this project gets a little bit more complex to make the video. And I'm sure that is because if I want to go in and edit the video, this is all the metadata stored inside of these JavaScript files. Now, I can't edit this. I don't know if I go to open it, what it's going to do. Okay, I can open it right here and we can see it. Not the best place to edit it, but I don't think that's the purpose of Claude Design, but that is there to be the thing that's actually happening behind the scenes. Like all of this information you see here in this preview is stored in those files. And if I ask for anything here to edit, it's actually editing that stuff in the back end, rerunning it through to create the MP4 file, probably using something like FFmpeg in the back end to render all of this stuff. And when I go to export it, I can download it as a zip PDF, which would be interesting. So it's probably still frames for each, or a PowerPoint presentation. Presume that if I go to the zip, it's going to give me an MP4 file that I can download. And again, I can hand this off to Claude Code, and that will export it as an MP4 as well. So really interesting to see where they're headed with Claude Design. I do have another one. I made some slides, which is effectively the same thing, right? Except without motion. Have a bunch of files in the back, straight JS files with an HTML, and I had it create me like a slide deck to get sponsors. So design-wise, like the design languages are all fairly different throughout these three different projects, but it did a pretty good job just being able to work with this stuff. And I think for quick presentations, quick video presentations, it's pretty good. And I can definitely see something like this being an alternative to somebody like me who right now I use Canva because it's faster, it's cheaper, and I don't need a ton of options. I just need to be able to make YouTube thumbnails, some slide decks and stuff like that. I think in this more agentic world, Claude Design might fill that gap. And if you're already paying for Claude Code or, Claude Chat, you're going to be hard pressed to want to pay for something else. That's the crazy world that they're pushing into. They do have a design system that you can load up, so you can front load it with a bunch of your brand assets, colors, logos, font types, and you can really feed, the context of what your brand looks like in a much deeper way, so that when it outputs your slides and the rest of your presentations, it's on brand. That's the whole point. So really cool stuff to see where this goes. Again, at the end of the day, I think we're exploring a lot of this stuff. This literally came out today. I don't know where it's going to go next, but I can see it getting really good. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It's your Frontier friend. That's what we're calling this channel. Let me know if you have any questions about Claude and how you're using it in the comments below. Thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more, because I have, as of this video, zero subscribers when I'm uploading this, and hope to get more. So we'll see. See you in the next video.